It's not a good lighting. Let's see. I guess it's the 26th, Saturday morning, I believe. Um, November's almost over. December's coming, and with the new year, we're gonna have a new president, Trump, that by his words and actions comes out real racist. You know, reminds me of a story where they were talking about it. Well, I don't know. It's a good story to tell, but it has to do with religion. And but they were saying like once like everybody's like Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Like I guess like if you believe in the spirits, seeds, and new order stuff, that they would have came to the height of their whatever, trying to like I guess like when they went to that it's like a long, long time ago. Like if I would go back in time, I would go back to Alexander before they got conquered. But they remind me of this the story oh, when the white people first showed up, and I guess there were some that had showed up previous before. Like I guess it was the Romans, and the Greeks that went in there and like devastated the area. But they were trying because like they had these in Alexander, they had these like giant monuments to different religions or gods, and um um they were making lots of money. um uh, and that's what it was for. It was for, but the thing is, behind the religious was uh, scientists, physics. They were using the their science and physics to uh, uh, to con people out of their coins. But the thing is like what when the when like I guess like the white people came and they took over Alexander, but they couldn't understand the people they had got left behind. I guess like as soon as they got wind that a war was coming towards them, um, and the type of people that were coming towards them that was from Europe, they were very warmonger, and their ideas of life was that like it's like if you kill you become like higher up, like the more you kill, like the more control you have, the more you move up in the chain, and opposed to the other ones to where like um it was all about they were on top and saw like some people saw them as gods because of their um one with nature, the understanding nature and using nature. So the most what they wanted was is their ability to make money. They're making money like through like the religious ceremonies. That I guess with the easiest way to show is like when Moses um um uh, um was with the pharaohs, and these people came and they're like they threw down their staff, and they're like, oh, it turned to a snake, and they had different because of physics it's about um smokes and mirrors too, you know but anyway, the ones that they had left, and this is a conflicting story from but like there's like I've always was told there's four lies to the stories. Each story. Just pick the one you want, but there's only one truth. So it means there's really five stories. Think about it. Four lies, one truth. But anyway, right? So what was left behind is they had neutered some men, and I guess they were saying because they were taking care of the women. No, I think it's because the story I heard is because like had a different way custom where they came from, the way they treated women. And um because like like the women, like in a sense was like, like they were put up at a higher, like that the woman was like, they fed, they clothed, and they sheltered, and their child. And that's pretty much how they did the, like, it was like a pyramid, like a Constantine, the way the religious people hierarchy went. And the ones at the four at the top, what confused the white man is because they were they considered themselves kings, but working kings. And like other people might like the common people might saw them as gods because the propaganda that they portray to them was gods, because they since they understood physics, they understood gravity, and they understood water. They knew how to, you know, make pull electricity out of the sky. One famous thing was like this Tulsa guy was supposed to have got some of their writings because later, and it was wireless, like sort of like the like when back in the old days when they had the ticker tapes through like direct with the stock market was an example of that. But anyway, I guess back in Alexander they started with using steam to move pillars, and they they use water to the way down stuff, sort of like a water mill. And so it was the beginning of like the modern day technology. um but anyway, so like the thing is Tulsa, like like he was supposed to have found like everybody, like they was trying to the scientist was trying to analyze this information they got from Alexander, because there were millions of books that kept documents of everything. Now I don't know if that part, like I said, there's four lies and one truth. Did he really get documents and find out how to distract? The same thing with Tom Edison. They always hear about the black eye that was really behind it. You know what I'm saying? It's like in their mind, if the white people, like, if they could just, because after they went to Alexandria's, and they the what was left, the people that was left, um was the lower part of the pyramid. The lower part of the pyramids, those are the ones that was closed, housed, and fed, by the hierarchy, you know, uh, and they were housed, closed, and fed in a way that this indentured them to um, do some of the grub work, uh, uh, um, but they just, because of the pure mass of them, um, and the type of freedom that they had to come and go and whatnot, it was like their choice. It's just like now, like you fill out an application for to get a job, you know, it was just this about the same way, but like and even in slavery time, they would give them like some coins and stuff to incentive them, but they would get it all back in their temples and in their churches. Well, anyway, so the story goes, when they come to a certain time when everybody's like Jesus, Jesus, but like they didn't use Jesus as the main thing, but when they're very all Christian, and they're all Muslim, or they're all Jewish, they're all in very, to where they can't see their actions. And anyway, the thing is that when they came to Alexander and the other people had left, they were following them because these people knew how to generate money. In their big temples, in their churches, in their synagogues, whatever, like their worship building they had in Alexander, that was their ways of making money. It was entertainment that was in there. So you had these different fractions of lower levels, lower than the third level of the hierarchy, um, that like they were like became like the traveler theaters, or they became like this one family cop, but they would have multiple skills. So anyway, when you get to a certain time to where, well, anyway, the way the story goes is that they was the white Europeans was slaughtering and killing and raping and it's when they caught up with this one family, they were like this one um tribe. They from Alexander, and they're like a generation out now, right? These people like they're still making money. They're generating. I think they were the ones that because like they only was the bank they understood how to, how to con currency into the politics. So anyway, right? So they wanted these, so I guess they sort of captured them, and like they was like beating them, and then like one of them like why do you rape 12-year olds, why do you beat them? Anyway, they said to break their spirit. So anyway, somehow like these white Europeans thought, well, like since their kids like at 9 years old is smarter than our kids at 16 in knowing a lot of stuff because they're still living off the land farming. That's why they don't want humans to really farm or live off the land because not only is it a way to make money, but you don't want that connection with nature to where they would say there's not something wrong. Something. But anyway, so they left the like so they decided like they're gonna leave these kids with them in the daytime. They're gonna like use like them to be like this the school teachers. Well, anyway, after about like 6 months or whatever, um the people like they noticed total change, and like there was like the parents were like they went to like whoever was like the leader of their tribe or whatever, and they're like, look at our kids. The kids were pretty much catatonic because like they told these Anthony Alexanders that they like like they want to break the spirit. So like the kids were just end up catatonic. They do to the kids what they have been doing to them. They beat them and rape them. But anyway, the kids instead of so they're like, what happened to the kids? And like catatonic, like some of them they would just be like sitting and staring off in space, or they would stand by the wall and stare off into space. Um, they were like walking zombies. They were and they say, well, you said you wanted to break the spirits, be broken. But so anyway, so with the other technology, the guy that told me, and he said, because they had a choice that they could have used solar energy, water, and like in Niagara Falls, water is a great conductor of electricity. They could have used a lot of stuff, but instead they're like, we can't put a meter, like if we use wind for electricity, uh, how are you gonna put a meter on it? How are you gonna get those coins? How are you gonna get? So that was why they went to fossil fuels and other combustible type of things. And they said when it comes to the time to where everybody's into, like you're one God, or like because like these not only did they want their money, but they wanted those people to worship them the way they had worshipped them, those people in Alexander. But the only problem is that Alexander's was so rich, not because they used fossil fuels and stuff like that. They were so rich because they went along with nature. Who knew like some parasitic Caucasian race, and we say parasitic because of the syphilis. It's like a parasite, and it enters like all your cells in your bodies. Looks like a little if you look at a microscope, I believe it looks like a tick, and it clicks in like a tick too, and it could and anyway, So this is like so they call that like the beginning of the end for them. You know what I'm saying? Like once that happens, because like and I see it now with our fraction. You're talking about the black snake. Well, never mind. That's another scary story. But that I'm not qualified to give the decency that it needs. But you come to the time to where, and this is from their greed. This is their punishment that they can't change their ways. That and going back to the fracking, okay, like you have the fracking and you have the pipeline, like North Dakota pipeline. You have fracking and you have tons of oil. We had oil spills in the Gulf of here in New Mexico. You have fires burning. I think it was Ohio. From so like the thing is with the fracking, can you imagine like let's say in Japan where they have all these nuclear bombs, not nuclear bombs, nuclear energy plants, right? And they have earthquakes. Like, can you imagine California has nuclear, and they have earthquake? So the picture they gave was like because of them needing to suck the lifeblood out of the earth, let's just call that oil, crude oil, because like like I guess we were saying the digital people, everything on the earth was was there for a reason. The crude oil in the ground is there for a reason. So anyway, so what's supposed to happen is like they like it's sort of like when Trump says the Mexicans gonna build their own wall. They're like they're gonna do their own death from their greed. So like so like if you imagine with the with the fracking, right? It can cause earthquake. So you say you're already in even though like you might be like a state over, everything's the plates. So imagine the plates are all connected. That so Earth is all one. And so you could have shaking over here, bump into this plate over here and cause shaking. We already have a natural fault somewhere in there, right? That fault can bust right near a right near a nuclear plant, could go off like a nuclear bomb. Like that one in Japan a few years back. I know it wasn't an earthquake, but you saw what happened to that plant in Russia. There's been a few places, but can you imagine? Because we have a tons they're not going to invest in solar energy. They're not going to invest in wind energy or hydro energy because, again, where the dollar's at. So they're going to have to keep investing where they know they can get the most money, where they've been getting the most money at. So at the same time, you can't stop a war because, anyway, so, like, there, here he is with enough fracturing, enough moving, right? Split the earth in half. Phew. Because like because like and then part of it is like, of course you're gonna have the different ice poles to melt. So like you have that tilting, right? You have the plates moving, or it doesn't have to like split it like what we think because of the force of gravity, you know. Anyway, so but you can still have a splitting, it, like and it's not like a bang or thing. But anyway, so yeah, so because of the I guess you would say that they put like instead of being like the God that they want to represent, they're more the evil. So they're they're the opposite. They're the yang of God. You know what I'm saying? If because like in the old Alexander, they believe God was more of a woman for the simple fact that women birth children. and that's another story. And that's why they had to belittle it. Like there's this one story like where this Alexander, he was like a king or very high up, and there's a lot of propaganda and policies that went along with stuff too. Well, one of the white Europeans, like what they do was they were there to rob, steal, rape, and pillage, whatever, right? Raped one little girl. Anyway, she was 14. And she got pregnant. So the king said it was his daughter. He set her right next to him with the newborn baby, and what and like that, like that was supposed to shame him, belittle him, but the shame is not put on the child. Like nowadays we put a lot of shame and everything on the child from the adults. There they wouldn't do it. The adult did it, was the adult's fault. So that was like one of the Virgin Mary, like uh, like one of the Virgin Mary story. And she and but in the cults or in Alexander's is the you know um you being a woman, your worth was how you did your children, how you raised your children, you know it what you passed on to your children. And the father was also wants to get passed on too. So but anyway, so that was so anyway, so there's so so I see with Trump that maybe we will have to where white people are like thinking, like they always think, sort of warlike and self-destructive, and with this like a rape society type of mentality. But they're double binding hypocrites that look for a scapegoat. That they have a schisma, psychotic schisma about their thinking. It's you know uh, to where it's they can't think positive, to make money. It's all about like their control is a negative. So it's like it's like these are the children from this catatonic psychotic you know there's a couple of generations out, you know and 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 then that's a lot of problems why a lot of our people won't see is because um we have been targeting children. Children need more rights. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see if the fracking. Well, we know fracking causes earthquakes. And we know that the pipeline is going to spill because we just have experience and enough evidence from the past. So we'll see how far, how like will their thinking of their mentality and their greed actually cause the end of civilization? Probably. Happy, but anyway, I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving and Christmas coming around the corner. Then next thing you know, New Year's, and the next thing you know, Trump's gonna be signed in with his thinking friends.